Yo, day one of the transfer portal, and it was lit. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Water Cooler Talk Podcast. Ha ha. Yeah.
Going live.
With the coolest podcast.
The Water Cooler Talk Podcast. The coolest podcast.
In your ear.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your guy, your friend, your cousin, your brother, your nephew, Nick Frazier from the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us here on the coolest podcast in your ear, the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. You know how we do. We are here talking sports around the water cooler, man, and we appreciate y'all so much for joining us, giving us a little bit of your time on this Monday afternoon as we, try to recap day one of the transfer portal, man. We appreciate y'all so much as always, man. Before we get started, man, make sure y'all follow us on X. They call it Twitter at CoolestPod23. Subscribe, like, and share this video. Use the hashtag WCTPod if you do that for me. I appreciate you so much, man. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk. And follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast Facebook page, man. Thank y'all so much for rocking with us here at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. Transfer portal day one. It happened, man. It happened. And our plan is to be here every day that the portal is open. So you may see me, you're gonna see me hopefully every night, the Lord's willing. I'll be here every night giving y'all the updates of what happened in the portal for Auburn University and throughout the SEC going forward. So we appreciate y'all so much, man. Shout out to our guys, Wade Lewis. Wade Lewis said he up in this thing, man. Wade, what's going on with you, my guy? Hope everything going well with you. C Hall. He said, yo, what up, Nick? What up, C Hall? I got C Hall is in here as well, man. We appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast. Let's get into it, man. I don't want to hold y'all too long, man, but the transfer portal day one was rocking. It was rocking, man. It rocked. Let me get into it, man. So basically today, kind of want to go back over some of the guys that Auburn has in the portal right now. We've been over it a lot, but still want to go over it. You never know what updates may come through throughout the day. So that's my job. That's the whole point of it, man. Oh, snap. Shout out to the Golden Boot podcast. Golden Boot said, how it be? What's going on, Golden Boot? How y'all doing, man? Got to ask you, man, what are your thoughts on Kaidon Salter? Do you think either Vandy or Auburn has a real chance at landing him? If so, who do you think he goes to? I'm going to get into that in a minute, Golden Boot. I got you. I'm going to save this right here, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute, man. But let's take a look at some of the guys that are in the portal, man. Let's just go back through it again so you all can be caught up with what's going on. Holden Gerner, Michael Riley, EJ Harris, Grant Hidalgo, Gage Keys, Gabe Russo, Camden Brown, TJ Lindsey, Caleb Wooden, Caleb Burton, the third wide receiver, is in the portal. Hank Brown. Yesterday we broke, we didn't break it, but we reported that Hank Brown did decide to go ahead and enter the portal yesterday. And today, the fuss that was all over X, all over social media, Antonio Kite entered the portal, but Gators Troll put up a post saying it was Cam Coleman, and everybody was like, what? Cam Coleman in the portal? Nah, they just wore the same number. And if you look at the picture, that ain't even Cam Coleman in the picture. That's Antonio Kite. But Antonio Kite, who transferred to Auburn in the last transfer season from Alabama, is entered the portal. He was dismissed from the team this season. But that is where that is. That's where we stand now on guys in the portal. But what are we going to add to the team with the guys that we're losing? Of course, the biggest position that everybody is worried about is quarterback. And we're going to get into that. And of course, offensive line. So I'm going to go down the list of what happened today. And man, we're going to kind of go over what's going on, man. Let's get it started, man. So on the offensive line, former Northwestern offensive tackle Josh Thomas has set a visit for Auburn this week. He should be in Auburn Wednesday. He will be at Michigan State tomorrow. And he will be at Ohio State Friday. for visits. So be on the lookout for to see offensive tackle Josh Thompson at Auburn on Wednesday. He also has other visits that he wants to line up with Michigan, South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee as well. So that's a big get right there, man. If we can get him on the offensive tackle, because those were some of the spots that we were having trouble with. If we can get that guy, man, it'll be good, man. And I want to say it was Nathan King who put out a column this past weekend, and he mentioned the Northwestern offensive tackle Josh Thompson as a guy to be on the lookout for. I don't know if he was too high on him, possibly coming to Auburn, but he did say that was a name that we would look out for. Let's get into it, man. Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr. And he has entered the portal officially. Georgia Tech, man, and I don't know if y'all remember, but he was actually on Auburn. He had Auburn on his radar when he was coming out of high school in 2023 when Hugh Freeze first got to Auburn. So that could be somewhere that we can look at and see possibly a connection where he could come back to Auburn. And it has been reported that he will be in Auburn on Wednesday. And he also has a visit set up for Ole Miss as well. So got Cam Coleman, you have Perry Thompson, you have Malcolm Simmons, you have Sam Turner, Eric Smith, Derek Smith, you have Bryce Kane. So adding another veteran with possibly, I think he'll have 2 years of eligibility left to play. So seeing him and actually having the opportunity to see him kind of come in and play and possibly, get some real run out there. I don't know how that will affect the room, like how would that affect the Perry Thompson or how that, and things, stuff like that. I think Cam's position is solidified. Perry Thompson, we'll see. I don't know how this move kind of gives me a little cause to pause of, does the coaching staff think Perry is progressing as quick as they want him to go out and go get another receiver? Because I'm in the boat of saying that I believe we have a lot of talent in that room, and you just let those young guys play and get that talent and experience. And by the time they become juniors and sophomores, the wide receiver room should be good as long as we got a quarterback throwing them the ball. We're gonna get to that in a minute. Christian Clemente from 247 Sports is reporting that Oklahoma tight end Bear Sharp, I hope I'm saying his first name correctly, is visiting Auburn on Thursday. He entered the transfer portal today, because the transfer portal opened today. So he is entering the portal as well, and Auburn is in the market for tight ends. So this may be somebody to look out for. Luke Haas from Arkansas was in the portal, but I believe he's trending to Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what's going on with that there, man. Sharp's numbers from this past season, he had 42 catches for 324 yards and 2 touchdowns. So could that be a nice add to the tight end room? It'll give us some depth and some veteran leadership there. That's definitely true, man. Let's move ahead, man. Ahmad Hardy, running back from ULM, that everybody seems to be high on, man. This guy it's true freshman, formerly from ULM. He will have 3 years of eligibility remaining. He is visiting Ole Miss on December 11th. But Auburn is high on him. I think he recently followed a lot of Auburn reporters and a lot of Auburn social media accounts this past week. So that's one to look out for. But he already has a visit set up for Ole Miss, and hopefully he can get out of Ole Miss so he can get to Auburn to see what's going on there, man. But it'll be good. That'll be nice. That'll be a nice addition to the running back room, especially with, Damari Austin still there. You have Mr. 10,000 yards himself, Alvin Henderson, who signed his letter of intent last week. And then, of course, Jeremiah Cobb. There's a lot of chatter about, will Jeremiah Cobb still be on this team? Will he be on this roster going forward next season? So, adding that depth there, you may think about going out getting another running back, which Auburn did, because Auburn offered former UConn running back Darrell Robinson. He has been offered by Auburn as well. Darrell Robinson, former UConn running back, 6'1", 205 pounds. Stats from this past season: 107 carries, 731 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, and averaging 6.8 yards per rush. I think that's a nice stat line there. I think that's a really nice stat line there. So you looking at possibly if you can keep Cobb, if you can keep Austin, you get Robinson in, who you've already offered. And then if you can somewhat get Hardy on campus, if you can get him on campus and not let him leave, I think you got a chance of having a really solid running back room. But what's the play if you can't get Hardy there? What's the play if a Jeremiah Cobb decides to step out and test the waters in the transfer portal? Now, at that time, you just left with Henderson and Austin. And according to Mike G from the War Report, he thinks that Austin is solidly staying in Auburn. He's not entering the portal, so he feels confident there about that. So I think the running back room could be an interesting development going forward. But one thing that these coaches can do, they can recruit. So I have faith in them when it comes to that recruiting, man. All right, man, let's get to it, man. Auburn has offered Ryan Stratter, former Miami of Ohio cornerback. Now, adding him to the cornerback room, to the secondary room, provides a lot of depth because, as you know, you have Champ Anthony coming back, Sylvester Smith, Tyler Scott, Jay Crawford, who was a freshman All-American, Ken Lee, who's back there. Not to mention, you got Eric Winters, Anquan Fagans. You'll have Donovan Starr, Devin. You have all these guys coming in. A lot of young talent back there. But adding a veteran piece in that secondary could help that young talent become more. You don't have to put that much pressure on them to play. I mean, they'll still have to play, but it won't be pressure on them to play right away. At that moment, they'll be in the rotation. You can kind of ease them in. So that will be interesting to see, man. We'll be looking out for him, Ryan Stratter, former Miami of Ohio cornerback as well, man. Staying on the defensive side of the ball, man. Auburn offered Coastal Carolina edge rusher Cleve Lubin. The edge position, man, at Auburn is stacked, man. So that tells me there that somebody in the edge room might be moving to a different position. Joe Phillips. Could Joe Phillips play linebacker? I think he can. Man is athletic enough to be anywhere on the field. He's good enough to be anywhere on the field. Just put the man on the field. Let the man play. That man is talented. Way more talented, way more athletic enough to be on the field to play at any position on the field. Edge, middle linebacker, whatever, because you still have DJ Barber, you still have Robert Woodyard, and those guys that DeMarcus Riddick will be there, but you still got to add some depth there as well. So that'll be another position of needs. Going into that, Phoenix Jackson, who is a linebacker, formerly of Fresno State, he has set his visit for Auburn for December 13th and 14th. So it seems as if we might be adding some depth there, some veteran leadership there, man. Everything that I've heard about him is that he's better in pass coverage. So that'll be interesting to see. Will he be able to, handle that run coming at him? Will he be able to adapt? Stepping up from Fresno State, stepping into the SEC. Will he be able to handle that bang bang? Wait, my bad. Pause. Will he be able to? Will he be able to handle the workload that comes with being a linebacker in the SEC, man? So that's gonna be something to watch too, man. I feel really confident about him. Zach Blackerby from Locked On Auburn really likes that guy as well, man. So we'll see what's going on there with him as well, man. Wake Forest wide receiver, formerly Horatio Fields. He was offered by Auburn, and now he has set his visit for Auburn for December 18th and 19th. So Auburn looking at the wide receivers. I mean, that puts a little cause to pause in my mind about how do they feel about Perry. Will Perry get run? I believe he will. Will Perry be the starter? Because it seems as if Auburn may want to go out and get 2 receivers. I mean, they've offered 2 receivers off the top in Singleton, and Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech, and Horatio Fields from Wake Forest. And those visits are set already. So that tells me maybe they want to get some more run, some more veteran leadership at that position, at the wide receiver position. I don't know, maybe. But I would love to see our young guys play. We recruited them. The hype around them was that these are the guys that's gonna change the program. You need to see the hype around what Coach Hugh Freeze was saying was we need people, we need talent, we need playmakers. You went and got them, let them play, let them be playmakers. So that's gonna be interesting to see as well, man. Staying on the defensive line, man. Moving to the defensive line. Wisconsin transfer defensive lineman James Thomas Jr. received an offer from Auburn. All right, man. With Philip Bleedy declaring for the draft, Blockton, Travis, Jordan Crawford coming in, Malik Autry, Jared Smith. You have all these guys coming in. There's a lot of young talent. You do need some of that veteran leadership. The problem with Auburn is Auburn does have a lot of talent, but it's a lot of young talent. So I understand going out getting veterans to come in. To shore up that depth for sure, and to just have that veteran leadership in the locker room to teach the young guys how to go and how to perform and how to carry themselves and how to play and things stuff like that. But I'm always a proponent of letting the young guys play so that they can get that experience as well. So that's a fine line to balance. It's a fine line to balance there. Let's move right along here, man. Excuse me. That seems to be it. Now let's get to the most important part that everybody is talking about, the quarterback position. It has been reported today. This goes back. Let me take some of the comments here first before we move forward. Golden Boot said Hank Brown telling me that Trent Dilfer would not be the OC at Auburn. I would concur with that. I would definitely concur with that, Golden Boot. I do not think Trent Dilfer would be the OC at Auburn. I have already stated how I feel about the OC position. I believe that Hugh Freeze should take more of a CEO approach to the team, and he should go out and go get a primary play caller that is over. Go get an offensive coordinator that's over the offense and just have him be the primary play caller. That's just how I feel about it. That actually changed from last year because I actually felt that Hugh Freeze should have called plays, but after seeing this season, I don't know too much about that. Maybe he should just go out and get a primary play caller. Who I like to see? Controversially, 3 names come up. When Ohio State loses, I think you should reach out to Ryan Day to come be the offensive coordinator and primary play caller. People may not agree with that. Here's what it is. Eric Bieniemy just got fired by UCLA. Won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs. Could he not come to Auburn to be the offensive play caller? And now this is probably the most controversial one of all of them. I think Art Browse would be good, but I think it's too high. I think that was still too high to touch. Can't touch it. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk about quarterback, man. So quarterback position. My bad. Seahawks said we need that. Shout out to DC from Auburn. Addy said, let them young boys eat. I agree, DC. Let them eat. All right. So back to Golden Boots comment here, man. He said, how it be? Gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on Kaidon Salter? Do you think either Vandy or Auburn has a real chance at landing him? If so, who do you think he goes to? Well, Kaidon Salter reported today has visits already set up. He has a visit set up to Syracuse. He has future visits already set up for Florida State and Colorado. The Florida State one does not surprise me because Gus Malzahn is the new offensive coordinator at Florida State. And when I see Kaidon Salter, I see Nick Marshall. If based on what I see Florida State doing, you went out and got Osman Chroma, the 4-star running back, Kaidon Salter, who probably is a little bit more polished passer than Nick Marshall. I see Nick Marshall, Trey Marshall. I see Nick Marshall, Trey Mason all over again. I see what he's trying to do there. But I still think that Gus Malzahn may go out and get a portal QB, another portal QB, for competition purposes, at FSU. So Auburn still has interest in Kaidon Salter. I don't think an offer has been put forward yet. It's just interest. What's been reported is just interest so far. Vandy is in that mix as well. UCLA apparently has some interest as well too. But as of right now, where he has visits solidified at would be Syracuse, Colorado, and Florida State, for what has been reported so far. Jackson Arnold. There was actually a RPM put out on 3 today by, I want to say it was Wiltfong. Wiltfong put out a RPM today for Jackson Arnold to Mississippi State, which makes a lot of sense because Jeff Lebby, who's the head coach at Mississippi State, was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, not this past season, but season before last. And now with Ben Arbuckle, who is coming in to be the OC at Oklahoma, and John Mateer, who has not entered the portal just yet, from what I have seen. It seems as if that he will be entering the portal and will be moving to Oklahoma with his offensive coordinator, which is what has been rumored for the past 3-4 days now, with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. So Jackson Arnold entered the portal, and he may be, and it seems as if a RPM has been sent out, for him to move to Mississippi State. That's what it looks as if. That's where it looks like he's going. Miller Moss, a lot of chatter about Miller Moss has dimmed down. He has Louisville and Missouri scheduled now. Haven't heard too much about Auburn just yet in the past couple of days, but it will be interesting to see. Golden Boot came back and said, anyone who knows anything about Jackson Arnold knows that from the time he hit the portal, he is going to Mississippi State. Yep, exactly. I just, it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world, for him to go to Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby, who's the head coach at Mississippi State, and Jeff Lebby was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma his freshman year at Oklahoma. It just makes the most sense in the world for him. DC from Auburn Addy says sources tell him that the Stanford quarterback is not the guy. Is that supposed to be not or is the guy, DC? Let me know. So getting into that, yes, Ashton Daniels, Stanford QB from Beaufort, Georgia. It was reported. It has been reported by all sources on Twitter, YouTube, 247 on 3, wherever you get your sports news from. It was been reported that if Hank Brown it was reported that if Hank Brown entered the portal, Auburn was going to go after Ashton Daniels, because Auburn was going to have to get 2 portal QBs. Is Ashton Daniels the guy? I would agree with DC and the sources that he has that no, he's not the guy. Athletic guy, has a strong arm, can make some throws, very inconsistent. His stat line this past season was not great. Is he an SEC caliber quarterback? You be the judge of that. Can he win you a game or two in the SEC? Yeah, he can. Is he a starting quarterback in the SEC? I don't think so. But is he a reliable is he a reliable backup? Definitely. I think he could be a reliable backup. So it seems as if that match right there with Ashton Daniels and Auburn is going to happen. So as Justin Hokanson said on Twitter X today, don't panic. Please don't panic. He's a guy, but not the guy. Now I will go back to what Philip Marshall said. Testing. Okay, I'm good. I will go back to what Philip Marshall said in his column this past weekend. And I wholeheartedly believe this, that Auburn's quarterback is not in the portal. His paraphrasing what he said that there's been a lot of chatter around a portal QB a QB who is not in the portal yet. There are a lot of guys that come to mind. One in particular, that I believe is the guy that he's talking about. And we talked about this a little bit over on Have You Heard Auburn News Today this past weekend with DC from Auburn Addicts. We talked about that particular guy. I'm not gonna say his name because he's not in the portal yet, but if I'm gonna say this, and I give you context clues. Last year, his completion percentage went down. He had a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach in Brent Brennan. He had a new offensive coordinator last year in Dino Babers, who will not be there this year as well, who was fired. Brent Brennan fired all of the coordinators on his staff last year, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and special teams. It's just that Dino Babers was the only one that won't be returning to the team, but the defensive coordinator and the special teams coordinator will be reassigned to other positions within the coaching ranks. But this particular athlete's father stated that he was not entering the portal. But I personally think that he probably will enter the portal. I think he's waiting to see who's going to be hired as the offensive coordinator before that happens. So the guy is still out there. I know a lot of people talking about Mateer at Washington State and things of that nature. You probably know who I'm talking about. For the people that's watching, you probably can tell. Mateer's a guy, but I think Mateer is moving to Oklahoma based off of what Jackson Arnold did by entering the portal as well. So I'm gonna rock with Philip Marshall on that one. I think Philip Marshall has his fingers in that one a little bit better, a little bit more chatter than I do. So I think he has a point there, and I think you're probably going to see you're probably going to see movement on the guy that Auburn wants to go after, probably towards the end of this week, beginning of next week. If just from what I've read, what I've heard, what I've read and seen, that's just what I think will happen moving forward. But yeah, man, that is pretty much it. Oh, I forgot one guy, man. Offensive lineman Wendell Moore Jr., formerly from Arizona. Offensive lineman, offensive guard. He will actually be in Auburn on Friday for his visit with the Auburn Tigers as well. So a lot of movement in the portal. A lot is going on in the portal as well. This is going to be an exciting time. Golden Boot came back and said, if Andrew Luck is telling someone to jet, he ain't the guy. I'm just saying, I agree. What Golden Boot is referring to there is that Andrew Luck is now the general manager of the Stanford Cardinal. So it'd be interesting to see that as well. You know who might be a great fit at Auburn? Nate Johnson, former Utah starter, 3 games as a freshman, back up to Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt. At Vandy, this guy can flat out run the RPO styles. You got a point there, but what I would say to Nate Johnson is he has too much eligibility though. I think Auburn is looking for probably a guy that has 1 year, maybe 2 left, maybe 2 years left of eligibility, depending on how well he plays this year. Because you have Deuce Knight and Walker White waiting in the wings to battle it out for the starting quarterback position, possibly in 2026. But I understand. I see where you're coming from with Nate Johnson. That makes a lot of sense as well. Golden Boot said, my understanding is the center from Liberty is looking at both Auburn. He is. Can't remember his name at the moment right now, but he is. That is true. If I'm not mistaken, Johnson he only has 2 years left. He does. So basically, if Nate Johnson comes in, he tears it up this in the 2025 season, then he could possibly jump to the NFL, and then that will open up the running for Walker White and for Deuce Knight to take that job and who will be the starter in 2026. Kind of don't want to upset those guys. If you Hugh Freeze, you ask me. But even though you still got to recruit quarterbacks, because Auburn did offer the number one dual threat quarterback in the class 2026, Landon Duckworth, out of Jackson High School this past week, who just won a state championship in class 4A in the state of Alabama. So that's going to be interesting to see. Ladies and gentlemen, man, that's a recap of day one of the transfer portal. I will be back again tomorrow, giving you the updates of what's going on around Auburn and everything else that pops up around the SEC as well, man. But we appreciate y'all so much, man. Before we get up out of here, man, as always, subscribe, like, share this video, hit the notification bell so you know when we post. We are just on our way trying to get better, man. We appreciate y'all so much. We can't do this without y'all. So we appreciate y'all so much, man. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like the video. We're just trying to grow and trying to be better so we can give you more accurate information. And so that we can give you more of our information from the inside as well, too, as possible, man. Follow us on Twitter, X at CoolestPod23. Follow on Instagram and TikTok at the Water Cooler Talk as well. And follow our Facebook page at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast on Facebook, man. And we appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us here at the Water Cooler Talk Podcast, man. Like I said, I'll be here tomorrow. Recap of day 2 of the transfer portal tomorrow, man. And we appreciate y'all so much, man. We'll see you then, man. As always, y'all have a good one. Better yet, y'all have a great one. Y'all be blessed. And as always, one love. And we out.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell so you know when we post more videos and go live.